So what if the real secret to better performance isn't a bigger paycheck, but something else entirely? Today we're going to unpack Daniel Pink's really revolutionary ideas on what truly gets us going. For decades, we've pretty much relied on one simple idea. If you want people to do better, you reward the good and, well, you punish the bad. But what if that whole system is just fundamentally wrong? What if the carrots and sticks we've been using are actually holding us back?
To really see what I mean, let's jump back to 1995. There's a real-world story that, honestly, according to any traditional economic theory, should have been completely impossible.
Okay, picture it. It's the mid-90s. Microsoft, this absolute giant, decides they're going to build the ultimate digital encyclopedia. They're pouring millions into it. At the very same time, this scattered group of volunteers around the world starts a project to do the same thing for free in their spare time. So you've got a Fortune 500 company versus a bunch of hobbyists. Who are you betting on? I mean, just look at this matchup. On paper, it's not even a contest, right? Encarta had all the money, the paid professionals, the top-down management, the standard recipe for success. And Wikipedia, well, they had passion. That's it. It was running on people who were just doing it for the fun of it. By every rule in the business playbook, this shouldn't have even been a fight. And the result? It was absolutely staggering. The profit-driven traditional model didn't just lose, it got completely wiped out. Today, Encarta is basically a trivia question, while that little volunteer project, Wikipedia, became one of the most important resources on the planet. This one example just shatters everything we thought we knew about what makes people tick. And listen, this wasn't some one-off fluke, not at all. It's a phenomenon that scientists have been studying for decades, which brings us to a really classic experiment that just lays it all out, plain and simple.
So imagine you're brought into a room. On a table, there's a candle, a box of thumbtacks, and a book of matches. The job seems simple enough. Attach the candle to the wall in a way that when you light it, wax won't drip on the table. Go on, take a second. How would you do it?
Okay, now here's the twist. The scientists running this experiment split people into two groups. They told the first group, hey, if you're the fastest, you get a cash prize. The second group, they were just told they were being timed to find an average. No reward on the table. So who do you think solved it faster?
The result is it's wild. It's completely the opposite of what you'd expect. The group that was offered money, the one that should have been super motivated, took, on average, 3.5 minutes longer to figure it out. The reward, the very thing that was supposed to help, actually made them slower. It literally got in their way.
So why? Why does this happen? Well, these if-then rewards, like cash for performance, are actually pretty good for simple, straightforward tasks, because they narrow our focus. But for a problem that requires even a little bit of creativity, like the candle problem, that narrow focus is a disaster. It's like putting blinders on. You can't see the creative solution that's right in front of you.
And get this is not new information. Scientists have known about this stuff for ages. Way back in 1949, a guy named Harry Harlow found that monkeys would solve puzzles just for the heck of it, for the challenge. And when he started rewarding them with reasons, they actually got worse at it. Then, 20 years later, Edward Deci proved the same thing happens with us humans. The business world is just now, finally, starting to catch up to about 70 years of science. So yeah, this isn't just about one weird study. It's a deep misunderstanding of what makes us do things. Let's call this old, outdated system motivation 2.0. And it's pretty clear that for the kind of work most of us do today, it's just broken. This is the basic software that most of our companies, our schools, and even our families have been running on for more than 100 years. It's all based on one idea. Dangle the carrot for the behavior you want, and use a stick for the behavior you don't. Simple carrots and sticks. We all know it. But the science couldn't be clearer. This old operating system is full of bugs. It can take something you find interesting and turn it into a chore. It can actually hurt your performance on complex tasks. It crushes creativity, and maybe worst of all, it makes you focus only on the short-term reward, not the big picture. Okay, so if the old system is so broken, what's the upgrade? What does the new and improved operating system for motivation even look like? Well, this brings us to Motivation 3.0. Think of it as an upgrade that runs on our built-in third drive. It's our deep, innate desire for autonomy, mastery, and purpose. And here's the big shift. It assumes people want to do good work. The job of a manager isn't to motivate them, it's to create the conditions where they can motivate themselves. Basically, get out of their way.
So this new system creates a totally different kind of behavior. The old way, Motivation 2.0, encourages what Pink calls type X behavior. X for extrinsic, meaning it's driven by external stuff, like money. But Motivation 3.0 fosters type I behavior, I for intrinsic, driven by internal satisfaction. And as you can see, sure, type X might give you a short-term boost, but type I, that's where real, lasting achievement comes from. So what does this actually look like in the real world? I mean, how do you put this stuff into practice? Let's start with the first, and you could argue the most important element, autonomy. Now, real autonomy isn't chaos. It's not about just abandoning all responsibility. It's about giving smart, talented people real control over 4 key areas of their work. What they do, that's their task. When they do it, their time. How they do it, their technique. And who they do it with, their team. A perfect real-world example is this Australian software company, Atlassian. Once a quarter, they tell their developers, for the next 24 hours, go work on whatever you want, as long as it's not part of your regular job. Their only rule? You have to deliver something, anything, overnight. That's why they call them FedEx days. And the results from this little experiment in autonomy? They've been absolutely incredible. A huge number of software fixes, patches, and even totally new product ideas have come out of these sessions. These are innovations that probably never would have happened in a rigid, top-down environment. It just shows you the power of letting go of control. So at the end of the day, all this science points to a new, better question. We shouldn't be asking, how do we motivate people? The real question is, how do we create an environment where people can motivate themselves? It's about giving them the freedom to direct their own work, the chance to get better at something that matters, and a clear reason why their work is important. That is the real engine of performance in the 21st century.